Okay, so when you're dealing with direct and indirect object pronouns, what you've got to do is you've got to identify them first. And so part of the problem that you were doing on your particular assignment is that you were only changing one and not both. You're doing double object pronouns, which means you have to change both the direct and the indirect. So I like to color code. So we're going to do the verb as red, the subject as blue, the direct object as green, and the indirect object as purple. Okay, so in this first one it says les pido a mis amigos su, bueno, les pido a mis amigos su heladera. Okay, so it's saying I'm asking my friends for their cooler. So the first thing you want to do is identify the verb. The verb is pido. Okay, whoops, let me make that smaller. Okay, and we're not answering these questions, we're just going to rewrite them. Okay, so then who is asking for this heladera? That's me, and we don't always have the subject written out. The way the verb is spelled, the ending lets you know who the subject is. So in this case, it's I, because O in the present tense goes with I. Okay? What am I asking for? The thing that I'm asking for, or the thing that I'm making, or what I'm putting something on, that is going to be your direct object. So the direct object is green. What I'm asking for is the heladera. Okay? And so what I'm going to end up replacing, well, we'll go ahead. Let's do the indirect. And so I'm doing the asking. What I'm asking for is an heladera, and of whom I'm asking this is my friend. So your indirect object is right here. Your friends, which also corresponds to the pronoun, because in Spanish, even when they mention the indirect object, they still include the pronoun, which is les right here. Okay? So now, when you rewrite this, since you already have an indirect object, they already gave you the indirect object pronoun. The only thing you're going to plug in is a direct object pronoun. So you're going to be looking at these right here. Okay? And you need to pick the one that matches with heladera. We want it to be it. So remember, everything is a he or she. So it still fall in this category right here. Okay? And in your direct objects, you've got a choice. You can either have lo or you can have la. La is for feminine things and lo is for masculine. And heladera is feminine, so it's going to be la. Okay? So when we rewrite that sentence, we want to plug in we've already got our indirect. We want to, we're going to take out, now, I'm not sure if it wanted you to take it out or not. We're going to take it out in I think you can take it out in your answer because they want you to replace it with just the pronouns. And so when you do that, your object pronouns always go in front of your verb. So what we're going to be getting rid of, we're going to get rid of our indirect object because we just want to use, it says we're going to replace it with a pronoun. And we're going to get rid of our direct object. We're going to replace it with a pronoun. So in lieu of having heladera and amigos, we're going to have les and we're going to have la. And where these guys go is they either go attached to unconjugated verbs, attached to participles, which are ando, yendo words. We don't have an infinitive. We don't have a participle. They can go attached to affirmative commands. We don't have any of those. Or they go in front of conjugated verbs or in front of negative commands. Well, what we have is a conjugated verb, so they have to go in front. And the one that goes first is going to be the indirect object. Indirect object pronouns always get written first. So when I rewrite this, what you're saying is, I ask them for it. Okay, so I ask is going to be pido. Whoops. Them is going to be les, and the it is going to be la because it's replacing heladera. Whoops. It's going to be heladera. Now, these, however, cannot be written here. They have to go we want them to be there in English, but in Spanish they get written in front. And that is how you say, I asked them for it. Now, the other thing, you see this changes to say, whenever you have an indirect, whenever you have a third person indirect object pronoun and a third person direct object pronoun, when you've got your indirect and your direct both start with L, you cannot have that. So what they do is, it's supposed to be les, and if I didn't put the la there, it would be les. When this situation arises, you change les to say, only when it's followed by lo, la, los, or las. So the answer to this first one is se la pido. Okay. So in the next one, you've got me hago una ensalada. I'm making a salad for myself. So again, you want to find your verb, and your verb is hago. The subject is I, again, because it ends in O, and this is in the present tense. So what's being made? A salad. That's your direct object. And who's the salad being made for? It's being made for me. That's my indirect object. So what we want to do is we're going to keep our indirect object pronoun. We are going to get rid of our direct object and change it. Oops, put that back in black. And we're going to change it to the pronoun. So remember, we have two its. We have lo and we have la. Since it's ensalada, the it we would want to use is the la. Okay? And so then when I write out the answer here, I'm going to say, I make it for me. Okay? So I make it, hago it is la, and the salad for me. So I make it for me. Now, but it can't go in that order. The order that it needs to go in is always indirect before direct. So the indirect is for whom it's being made. The direct is what is being made. So I want for whom before what. So I am going to move this behind here, and then I'm going to move the whole thing in front of the verb, because I do not have a present participle, which is the ando, yendo word. I don't have a command, and I don't have an infinitive. So me la hago. Le pongo sal a la ensalada. I put salt on the salad for him, her, or you. So then, again, we identify the verb. The verb is pongo. The subject is I, because I'm the one who's doing the putting. All right. So actually, it really means I put salt on it. Okay. So what am I putting? I'm putting salt. That's my direct object, and it's la sal. Sal is feminine. Whoops. Sorry about that. Which would be la. Okay. And on what do I put it? I put it on the salad, which would be your indirect, which is le. Okay, so when I do this, the le has already been given to me. What I'm going to get rid of is I am going to get rid of my direct object. I'm going to get rid of my indirect object, and I'm going to say I put it on it, essentially. Okay, so then my verb is poner, so I put it, meaning the salt, on it, meaning the salad. Okay, and like I said before, your indirect, your purple, needs to go in front of your direct. So you want to move this here. Okay, and then all of this has to go in front of your conjugated verb. Okay. And then the problem that I have ended up with is that I have my indirect and my direct are both starting with an L, which is something that you cannot do. When that happens, you have to change your indirect to se. So se la pongo. Okay, and I'll do one more, and then I want to move on to another activity that you potentially had problems with. So les preparo unos bocadillos a mis hijos. So the verb is preparo. Okay, the subject is I. Who's doing the preparing? I am. What am I preparing? I'm preparing sandwiches. Okay. And for whom am I preparing these sandwiches? For my kids. A lot of times your indirect is going to be a person, and you're going to see the personal ah in front of your indirect. The only one that didn't have it that way was number 2, but you can see this. I'm not going to do this one, but this is the indirect. And then nosotros is also the indirect. And you can see that personal ah right there in front of all of those. So that gives you a clue as to your indirect. Okay? So then if this is my indirects fall right here. Mis hijos would be les. Okay? And my bocadillos, I'm going to say I prepare them for them. So meaning I prepare them the bocadillos. Bocadillos is masculine and plural. So I'm looking down here. I'm going to pick los. Okay. So then I want to say I prepare them for them. Okay. So I would say preparo them, meaning the bocadillos. For them, meaning my kids. Okay, again, remember that your indirect has to come first. So I'm going to move that there. And these all have to go in front of a conjugated verb. Okay, and then I end up again with my indirect and my direct both start with an L. They don't do that in Spanish. So remember, even the plural changes to say. So because my direct starts with an L, I have to change my indirect to say. Se los preparo. Okay.